Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn on the precipice of the big day. It's weigh-in just a few moments from now. And as we are accustomed to, during fight week, everyone weighs in on the fighter and oftentimes you. But this time, I spoke to Canelo this morning and I presented him with Mike Tyson's views. Being that Mike Tyson says it's Gervonta Davis is the face of boxing, and that Benavidez beats everybody, including, as Mike Tyson calls him, Cinnamon.
Yeah. Look, I think it motivates Sal. I think that on Saturday, honestly, I think he's really motivated to put a performance in that shows people he is still the king, is still the face of boxing. And I think he needs that. I think it's good for him. I think people should question him and doubt him. I think that will light the fire within him. But no one draws. I mean, have you seen it out there on the streets? I've never seen anything. I've been working in boxing for 13 years. I've never seen anything like it. People hanging off railings and lampposts to try and get a peek at this guy.
Maybe since Manny Pacquiao have I seen anything?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But in the Philippines, I mean, I've not seen anything like it ever. And you talk about being a face of boxing, to be able to go and sell out stadiums pretty much anywhere in the world if you wanted to. To fight in America and draw the numbers that he does, and then to come home and see that. This guy's on another level.
We know that each of Canelo's previous opponents of recent have been winding him up to no end. So he didn't need any extra motivation except for what the opponent gave him. But it's been very mellow, other than, like we called it, the coronation. Are you at all concerned about Canelo coming in a little bit like humdrum, like this is just a run-of-the-mill fight tonight
I
or
think
tomorrow night?
Because of the questions and because of the doubt that people have, I think you're going to see someone that really wants to make a statement. I think it's going to be a great fight because I think John Ryder's super calm. He knows exactly the fight he has to fight. It's difficult doing it, but he's going to force the fight. He's not going to come and try and survive the 12 rounds, but I think Sal's going to be spiteful. He's going to try and make a statement, and I think he's relaxed but excited.
I saw Julio Cesar Chavez, royalty here in boxing, just a few moments ago. And when I spoke to Fernando Vargas, ferocious former Mexican champion, he's now rating Canelo over Cesar Chavez, which I've heard others do.
Yeah.
Do you think he's there at his career yet?
I just feel that it's only when you leave the sport that people really reflect on the impact you've had. Do you know what I mean? I think when a fighter is still fighting, they do get the props, but they don't get the props like when they retire. People look back and say, wow, look at the resume, look at the nights, look at that kind of stuff. I mean, I feel like Canelo has achieved more and is better and a bigger star than Julio Cesar Chavez. He was a little bit before my time. I caught the back end of his career. He beat one of my favourite fighters, Meldrick Taylor, which, was an unbelievable fight. But two gods in this country,
And lastly, on people's assessment, I mean, Teddy Atlas is a pretty big training name in the sport. Obviously, he's associated with Mike Tyson in the height of his career, and he's not even putting Canelo in the top 10. I mean, what do you make of these kind of assessments?
It's bizarre, really, isn't it? I mean, when you look at the run, you look at Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, Dimitri Bivol, lost but up at 175, Gennady Golovkin in the trilogy. You can't really do more than he's doing. If he rematches Dimitri Bivol and wins, what do you say then? I mean, you have to put him back at pound-for-pound number one. But, I think we live in a mad sport, Rahim, where people sometimes make strange statements, but to not put him in the top 10 of pound-for-pound is quite bizarre, really. He's an unbelievable fighter. Unbelievable.
And to your point, we do live in a world of trash talk and people say all kind of crazy things. That's part of the sport, assessing what you think one fighter is to the next. But what's caught my eye and really outraged, I think, the whole boxing community as of late is this Tyon Booth and your mate and mine, Kukan Cassius. I don't want to, pull up the comments because they're disgusting, but they are sexualizing a child, his child, in fact. And I want your thoughts on that kind of commentary.
I mean, it disturbed me, actually, in all honesty. Kugan's a close friend of mine, and when I heard it, it was one of those where I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I have two daughters, and, it disturbed me, I'll be honest. And I just thought to myself, I've had similar kind of stuff said to me on DMs and stuff like that. But to have it said on a video that goes viral, and you really have, I think as a father, you know, the first thing that you want to do is drive straight around his house.
Right.
And then you have to realise that you do that, and then you might end up in prison. And I hope the authorities deal with it in the correct manner. You know, I was disgusted, and you know, I'm starting to. You know, I said to you the other day in our interview about Twitter, and like it's a cesspit. It really is. You know, but that was beyond anything I've ever seen before. Completely disgusting, and needs to be dealt with. And unfortunately, unless you want to put yourself in a bad position, there's only one way to deal with it. And you know, I hope it gets dealt with.
Yeah, I've found the same comments from the boxing community. I take exactly the same measure of it as you do. I would hope that just all of us, you know, nobody's going to hurt this guy, but I think we ought to shut down this type of commentary, this type of individual who would go that far. I don't think we're talking about each other's children or family even. It's too much, and I just hope that the way you shut a guy down like that is just to give him no more attention. So I asked you that question because I thought it was worth addressing, being that the whole boxing community is disgusted by that kind of behavior. I appreciate your time, Eddie. I know you're busy. We'll get on to this weigh-in and this business of boxing with a little bit of character. Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn.